All right. Assalamu alaikum, bro. Can I be heard?
Walaikum salam. Yes, sir.
Awesome, awesome. All right, we are going to get right into it, looking sharp as always. Welcome, welcome, everyone. This is another installment of the STEM Files, the Voice of STEM Talent in Black Culture. We do our best to highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Tonight's episode, we are talking about the virtual hereafter with our brother and friend, Brother Sabeer Muhammad, computer engineering student coming out of, I believe it's North Carolina A&T University, correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Praise is due to Allah. Praise be to Allah. And as you all know, right, I do my best to be one of the voices as the co-host. I am Jabril Muhammad, aka Jabrilian Engineer. I am a civilian mechanical engineer with a background in material science and engineering. I currently focus on naval ship fluid systems, and my background is in the several different material classes and how their different structures lend themselves to different applications, whether we're making something stronger, faster, lighter, etc. Happy to be here. I'm always joined, and he will be here shortly, inshallah, by my co-host Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac, a biomedical research scientist with a background in cardiovascular pathobiology, the study of how diseases form in the heart and blood vessels. We are live, family, live right now on YouTube and Facebook. Make sure to follow us at the STEM Files on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. Make sure to share this live with all of your friends, colleagues, share with your cat, share with your coworkers, everyone, so you can get into this top level content we're sharing. We're at Street Cardiac and at Jabrillion_engineer on Instagram as well. I'm going to stop talking. I have more than enough time to do that. This is not about me. This is about who we do our best to bring on as our guests for you all to consume. Family, without further ado, I want to present to all and introduce to some our brother, Sabeer Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, bro.
Walaikum salam, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. Now that I see that beautiful smile, praise.
Oh, praise be to Allah.
You look like you what's that? How to Eat to Live? Is that what it is? Yes, sir. Okay. You might be doing that a
Yes,
little bit.
sir.
I mean, I heard about it.
Striving.
Well, praise be
Striving,
to
brother.
Allah. Praise be
Yes,
to
sir.
Allah,
Yes,
brother.
sir.
But
And
thank you so much. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Cut you
yes,
off.
I just want to say I'm so happy to be, here with your, your audience and here with you as well, and Brother Tariq. And I thank you for the invitation.
Absolutely. We thank you for accepting the invitation, brother. And like one of the things that we always try to do as we've been, around for a little bit is how do we continue to, bring good quality people on. And I think that when there's a mutual love and respect and desire to really feed the people, we always know it's going to be a good fit, at least more often than not. So, we've definitely seen you and like work with you from time to time and seen you grow. So definitely, having you on is definitely about time, and we love that you accepted the invitation. So thank you so much. So, without further ado, why don't we just open up, tell us a bit about yourself, who you are, background, how you arrived at computer science, computer engineering, and we'll just go from there. How about that?
Yes, sir. Sounds good. So, assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Brother Sabeer Muhammad. Let me open like this. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there's no God but Allah who came to us in the person of Master Father Muhammad. I further bear witness that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad is his messenger Messiah, and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is their divine reminder, servant, and warner in our midst. So a little bit about me. Currently, I am a dual degree engineering major at North Carolina A&T State University. And I'm kind of going for 2 degrees right now in that dual degree program. So one is in general science. And I had the opportunity to go to Morehouse College to pursue that. And then I'm finishing up the computer engineering degree at North Carolina A&T. The expectation is that at the end of this process, I should come out with 2 bachelor's degrees in about 5 years or so. And so, it's been a great journey so far. I'm not done yet, but it's been exciting for me just learning all about computers, all about the engineering side of it. So that's both the hardware and the software, and really getting deep into the technology behind it, along with getting a general sense of, what is science, and physics and things like that. So that's why I found the value in that program. a little bit about how I got into computer engineering, and it really kind of ties into this whole meeting. Is, as a young black man, I was interested in video games and things like that. And that was it was big for me, and as it is for many. But I wanted to go a little deeper into that, and I had to thank my parents, because they always kind of led me to look deeper into it. Not just as something that you play or something that you do, but let's look at the technology behind it. Look at the business side of it, and from there, that kind of led me into studying computer science, and that's focused primarily on the software coding, programming, and things like that. But I kind of wanted to get a little more knowledge on the hardware side as well, which eventually led me to computer engineering. So that's how I can say I kind of got started into this process, this journey, I guess you could call it. And it's a long journey, and I gotta say, for anyone who's interested in technology, you have to always take and understand that the technology that you're learning and the technology that you're studying is not something outside of you; it's something that's within you. And then the technology has manifested itself on the outside as well. I guess we'll explain that a little more later.
We're
To
gonna
begin with, but that's what
we're gonna work on that right now. That was profound.
Yes,
So
sir.
we're gonna tap into that right now. You said when we're trying to look into technology, for anyone who may be interested in technology, it's not that which is outside of yourself; it's
Yes,
inside of
sir.
you. And then through that thought process, through that critical thinking, that problem solving, by looking at out and around at your surroundings, you manifest
Yes, sir.
technology. So kind of walk us through that thought process. How can we better understand that process for ourselves, for those of us who may um, experience frustrated desire and see different problems in society that we may want to solve and may have an idea from a technological perspective. How can we kind of work on closing that gap or quickening the shifts from the mind to matter?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All praises due to Allah. So in the Nation of Islam, and it's great to be in this teachings. We learn about the origins of the universe itself. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he teaches us that, this universe, everything that we see at some point is started as an idea.
That's right.
And, when you have an idea, or if you have any inspiration or thought, you need to learn the knowledge, and the knowledge that you're learning in school is not knowledge that someone's trying to put something in you, but it's the knowledge of how to execute the idea that's already inside and make it manifest. And so I remember the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was talking about education. And, he said he wanted Muhammad's University of Islam and a new educational paradigm. He wanted it to focus not on trying to put a knowledge inside of the student, but trying to bring out of the student what's already inside of them. So in terms of mathematics, he wants us to say, I am mathematics. I am science. I am technology. I am chemistry. I am computer programming. I am computer engineering. And so bring this back around to, my field. We look at video games and things like that. Well, all video games and all that that field is simulation. It's an idea that somebody had, and now they're using technology, using science to manifest that idea. So how does the process start? Well, you have an idea. You say you want to do something. You want to, learn something. It starts, and I guess this is a great title, virtually. So the idea starts virtually in your mind. And then now you have to gain the knowledge. Okay, well, let's say I want to build a video game.
Right.
Well, okay, what is the skill sets required to build a video game? And then once you learn the skill sets required to build a video game, then you put all the skill sets together, and then you have a certain determination, a certain methodology that you follow to gain discipline to bring the idea into a reality. So going back to the universe, everything that we see at one time was an idea in the head of God or Allah, and he worked through a process, through struggle, through disappointment. He worked through that to bring it into a reality. So if we follow that program, if we follow that methodology, then any idea that we have starts virtually, and then we bring the virtual into reality. So
Mm.
that's how I would answer that question.
Be and it is. You talked about so much,
Yes,
beloved, in
sir.
terms of the power of thought and and understanding what it takes to do something, working that process out in your head, and then saying, okay, be and it is. Now I'm going to go to work with aligning myself with persons, equipment,
Mhm.
different alliances, and get the know-how to now bring it into existence.
Yes,
So
sir.
when we talk about the virtual hereafter, we talk about the discipline of computer science, the discipline of computer engineering. When you read that title, the virtual hereafter, where does your mind go, and where do you think other people's mind may go
Mhm.
by comparison?
All praises due to Allah. Immediately, it kind of makes me think about the definition of the hereafter that we were given by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we learning more about it through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. He said the hereafter means here on this earth after the destruction of the power of this present world, this present wicked world, to dominate the lives of the people of our planet. All right, so we're not talking about some place out in space somewhere. We're not talking about some realm that you're going to go to after you die. We're talking about a place here after the destruction of this wicked world to dominate the lives of the people on our planet. Okay, well, we're scientists, we're engineers, we're mathematicians, and mathematics isn't a very exact study. So when someone they say we got to give it mass, well, let's look at it. We have to give this mass. What does the hereafter look like? And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that the hereafter for my followers is right now. It's not something that we have to wait on. It's not something that we have to, wait till we die. No, we should be working to build the hereafter right now. And so, for a lot of our people, when we imagine hereafter, we're imagining, peace. We're imagining, a place that we can get away from the struggles of this world. And we're imagining, an environment really of peace, an environment of serenity. And so, when you take that definition that was given to us by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that's something that we should be working to build right now. It's a peaceful existence that we should be working to build. And that occurs only after you take the mind of this world off of your mind and then use your science, use your technology, use your engineering, use your mathematics to produce peace in your life. And so, when you have that word virtual hereafter, it kind of makes me think about how engineers nowadays, how before they build something, before they create something, they have what they call a blueprint. So they'll produce a blueprint. And nowadays, in one of my classes, we were studying, how they use computer software like AutoCAD to develop and now even design the buildings in 3D before
Right.
they produce it. Excuse me.
It's
And
all
then
good.
sometimes what they'll do is they'll even set up the plumbing. They'll set up the electricity. They'll plan out, how is this building going to survive against earthquakes? How is it going to survive against tornadoes? This is the kind of mindset that they have about producing something. So if we know that the hereafter is not something that comes after we die, the hereafter is not some magical place that's already set up for us. No, it's on us to build. Then what virtual idea do we have to build a hereafter while we live? What software are we going to use to develop an idea and then work to manifest it? I was thinking about that word, and I know I'm taking a long time, but
No, take your
it's very
time. Take
deep.
your time.
It's very deep.
Mm-hmm.
But I was thinking about that word virtual, and virtual is defined as almost or nearly as described, but not completely or according to strict definition. Not physically existing as such, but made by software to appear to do so. So everything that's virtual is close to the real thing or very near correct, but it's not the manifestation of it. And so, they call this new thing to virtual reality. And I have one of those virtual reality machines, and I tried it, and you can really make anything that you have that comes into your mind. You can see it, but it's not real. But it's the idea or the essence of something. And so the hereafter that we have to build, it starts as soon as that wicked mindset. And this is kind of the preacher coming out of me, brother.
Come
But
on, take your
as
time.
soon as
Take your
that
time.
wicked mindset is removed from your and my thinking, that mindset that makes us think that we can't do something, that mindset that kind of makes us think as though someone else has already done it. Once that idea and that mindset is removed from you, then the whole world opens up, and then you have a virtual environment to produce ideas, and with the right force, with the right determination, you can fulfill every and any idea you have. So that's kind of what makes me think of with the virtual hereafter.
Praise be to Allah. So we're talking about so much here. That was such a beautiful response, and you just took us on a journey as you were talking, because breaking down to its base terms, here after the end of what Satan's rule, virtual,
Yes,
having almost the body or the form, but denying the true power, or being the essence, but not being quite finished or completed. A lot of our people when Meta, formerly Facebook, released that their workings for the metaverse, right? People were so confused and all like, oh my God, y'all are going to be stuck there. It's going to be like Ready Player One. You're not going to want to be focused on the real world. It's going to take up all your time. You're going to be compromised in this way, that way. Just so distracted, for lack of a better word. And I was like, what I find very interesting from time to time is how quickly we forget how much time current social media constructs distract us from things. And one of the things I always like to remember is a tool is just that. Whether it's social media, a hammer, a phone, or whatever, a tool in the hand of one man versus the other can do great damage or great good. So when we think about virtual reality, augmented reality, right? I know Brother Ben, one of the things that he's putting together is a game server for GTA that has a lot of, I'm probably sure you've kind of seen or followed some of what he's doing.
Yeah, yes, I heard of
with
it.
the How They Could Live Cafe, other things and whatnot. We're kind of bringing the nation and ideologies into a game server where people can like operate in a world.
Yeah.
Right. But again, that's taking our mathematical theology and using it to secure something while we live. It's using it in a way that can glorify God, not kind of take us further away from what this very physical hereafter we're striving to implement. So it's almost like we say virtual hereafter, we're striving to simulate, right, this land of limitless progress in our minds, so that we can then go to work to bring it out of our minds so that we can all enjoy it together. Right?
That's true.
So praise be to Allah. That's beautiful. My mind is kind of working in so many different ways. So please forgive me as you were talking. You brought so many things up.
No problem.
So go ahead.
Yes, sir. I would just say, that really is the key, when we really understand, that it's on us to build this hereafter, not only as young people, but us as young people and older people. It's not going to drop out of the sky. And so, that what you lifted from our lessons, where he says, after learning mathematics, which is Islam, and Islam is mathematics, it stands true. And it can be proven at no limit of time. Then you must learn to use it to secure some benefit for yourself. And so, with our understanding of mathematics, the white man, he produced video games. But a lot of those video games, are from his perspective. They're from, his world. And so they're filled up with, filth. They're filled up with derogatory things. But, I like how you said, with the example of Brother Ben, you can take that and then take out the bad and implement the good, and you can see the value of, computer technology, the value of video games. It may come to a certain point. You may not even be able to call them video games anymore.
Right.
Because, it's not really a game, but it's an interactive form where, information can be shared. It's an interactive, platform where learning can be produced at a quicker rate. than it is even in the school system today. So it's definitely a big field. It's definitely, yes, sir.
So praise be to Allah. As we segue to, inshallah, begin talking about the game you made. Um, if I'm a young person, person that's been around for some time, and I have an interest in video game making and getting into that industry. Walk us through kind of computer science, computer engineering based principles and how they apply to video
Mm-hmm.
game making. What are we really thinking about? What math is involved? And then as we get to the concept of creating a video game, what does that look like? What is that general process like?
Yes, sir. Will do. So, video game development is really the intersection between technology, between art, between storytelling and narrative, and really a whole bunch of other fields too. You can have business, marketing, quality assurance, and all of those. And so, the first thing that I would, advise you to do if you want to make your own video game is to figure out in which area are you the best at, or are you skilled in. It's such a big field, and in game development, you have nowadays thousands of people working, on one game, and so scoping is very important. The first thing you want to do is, have a plan. Plan out, what type of game do you want to make. So for me, I know the games I like to play, and so I wanted to make a game sort of like that. And I know my skill set was primarily in programming. I was really in the technical side of it. I wasn't too much as big in the art side of it, but I didn't let that stop me at all. And so, pardon me for a second.
Take your time.
The first thing I did was develop a plan of what type of game do I want to make? What's the objective here? How will the player navigate through the world? Things like that. And it's a lot to get over. It's a whole books written about the game development process. And so, you can go into and look into those as well. But for me specifically in that technical side, I focused my skill set on that. So the type of game I would make, I know that this is something I was able to do. I definitely would advise, don't spend all day planning every single little detail. Sometimes we can have that get in the way of our progress with any idea. Because we plan and plan and plan, and we don't think, this isn't going to work or that isn't going to work. We don't know what's going to work until we try it and test it. And so, get an overall idea and then start working the idea step by step. As engineers, when we have a problem, the first thing we try and do usually is we break the problem into smaller problems.
That's right.
And we work those smaller problems, and then you can see the solutions put together to solve the big problem. And any development, not just of video games, but anything, can be broken down into smaller problems. And so the first thing for me was, okay, how is the player going to move around the world? What's the objective? What's the obstacle that's trying to stop the player? And then looking at those, then you can, develop the idea, and then you can get what they call a game design document. And through that game design document, you kind of have a rough sketch of how your game's going to work.
Right.
And so in answering the second part of that question, the technical side of it, what skills, and specifically what levels of mathematics, is really dependent on what type of game you're trying to make. And so for me, I was making a 3D game. It's entitled Al-Ankabut, or the Spider.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when dealing with 3D, you really have to deal with a lot of linear algebra, dealing with vectors, dealing with, 3D environments and how they move and things like that.
Right.
And then, a little bit of calculus as well. But
Right.
don't let that, stop you if you're not big with that. Every game is different, so there's some games where it's more important to focus on the artwork. For some games, it's more important to focus on the storytelling. For some games, it's incredibly technical. You got to know a bit about trigonometry, because everything in a video game is a triangle, those polygons and things like that. And so they use trigonometry to develop these 3D worlds that we see.
Right.
And, it's really down to, what type of game you're making. So when you have an idea, don't stop and let the mathematics get in the way. There's ways to learn how to do everything that you want to do. And whichever game you want to make, the purpose is to get started. And there's various game engines you can use nowadays that, in fact, do a lot of that for you. For me, I just found it very interesting to learn about the mathematics, because then when you learn about the mathematics, you can manipulate the mathematics in any way that you would like. So that's kind of the process that I followed.
Praise be to Allah. That's beautiful. I like how you walked us like an engineer would, step by step by step, taking us from big picture, just talking about video game making as a whole and the art aspect as well as technically. Well, I know what I like, so how can I make something like what I like? And then, talking about linear algebra, talking about trigonometry, talking about the very different aspects of mathematics, calculus that can be applied in one game. You also mentioned thousands of people working on one game, potentially, depending on how big the project, right? And it started to make me think about the making of the mother plane, and how you had these several people and scientists making one thing that they were not aware they were making, but it came together to be something perfect that did exactly what it was supposed to do. And it just brings to my mind the importance of having a great team that is unified and has a specific end goal in mind that they all adhere to, agree upon, and have the skills to be able to bring forth. So that was really beautiful. So as we continue, we're already at the halfway point of the show. It's so crazy how quickly time passes. We are going to go, I believe, into our final call newspaper highlight. We're going to talk about that. And you there? There he is. Blake Salam.
Yes, sir. I apologize, family, for not being able to show my chocolatey face, but your brother is in the process of doing something as we speak right now, so I can't have my camera on. But I wanted to first and foremost just thank Brother Sabeer for joining the STEM Files tonight. Brother is teaching.
Yes, sir.
I didn't expect all that, so I'm thankful for how hard you're going, beloved, how articulate you are when it comes to this amazing world of science.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to ask you, before we get into the final call segment, what exactly is computer engineering? Because I know that thing kind of popped up on the screen a few times, but I wanted to just break that down with any further. What is computer engineering? How does it, just by definition, how does it tie into what you're doing? And what made you decide, okay, computer engineering is something that I want to use or I want to explore for the rest of my life?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So computer engineering is basically the intersection between computer science and electrical engineering. So it's primarily focused on the hardware and the software side of computers. And, the hardware is, the make, the model, the circuitry that goes under it, the electrical side of it, the physical side that you can, touch and see if you open up a computer. And then it's also mixing that in with the software side, which is like the programming, the applications and things like that. And, it's a big field. There's a lot that can go into it. For example, this semester, I'm taking a class in operating systems, where we're using the software to really see how the hardware works and the different threads and things like that go into the computer. But you could also use computer engineering with, if you want to go into more electrical and you want to actually build computers and circuits or embedded systems where, if you see cars nowadays where they have a whole computer, a console and things like that. Well, there's someone who's developing those embedded systems and putting them into the cars. They have smart refrigerators now, refrigerators that can, scan different items and see what's inside the refrigerator.
Right.
The person who develops the circuits, is generally a computer engineer. So it's a big field, and you can go in any direction from the hardware to the software to game development. Who develops the consoles, the Xbox, the PlayStation, the Nintendo Switch? How do they develop the Nintendo Switch so that you can literally take it out and it becomes like a tablet, and then you can place it back in and it connects back to your TV?
Right.
So the hardware and the software, the computer engineer works with the electrical engineer, the computer scientist, to get that work done. And so I was saying earlier, I kind of got into this because, I was interested in video games, and, I played quite a bit of them, but I wanted to go deeper into it. And so, if you have children who do, or if you are a child who plays video games, don't always look at it as a bad thing. I remember a sister, or not a sister, but someone asked the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan a question on Twitter, asking how much time should we allow our children to play video games? And his answer was that there are games of folly, and then there are games that teach lessons. You choose what you get out of it. So if you choose folly, all you get out of it is folly. I wanted to choose something a little more, and it was a process. I can't say that I was like that from the start, but over time, I gained and learned a little bit more about how these games are developed, and it kind of led me into computer science. And then, back in 2020, I was able to build my own computer, and that kind of led me even more into computer engineering, learning the hardware, learning the software, because my goal in life is really to be a master of computer technology. I'll never get there because it's always growing, but I'm going to strive to do that.
Praise be to Allah.
And that's kind of what led me to it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I'm glad you brought that up about what the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said about often playing video games can have a very negative connotation to it. You have you just play video games all day, you don't do nothing. And that is a reality for some people. But what you did, you turned around and flipped it.
Yes,
often most of our time on is usually our passion. So what you took the time that you spent on video games and now you didn't teach yourself entirely, but you went and pursued something that would teach you how to develop your own video game.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. And I can say that at the start, because I started, when did I start? I think I started when I was around 13. I really started getting into learning to program. Sometimes they even teach, younger children to program. We have some children who are programming since they were 3 years old, 4 years old. And, it's something that you can do even if you don't have the formal education. There's so many different classes you can take if you want to learn programming, the technology behind it. And I started with, what's the name of that website? Codecademy. I started with Codecademy when it was free. Now it costs money, but when it was free, I just started taking classes, over and over again. And it wasn't something that I was forced to do because, my goal, I wanted to make a video game. But that led into so many other things. And I think that's important for us, for parents, for us as children. It doesn't matter what you start with. You may start just wanting to make a video game, and there's nothing wrong with that. You may start with just wanting to do this or just do that, but you don't know where that path could lead you and where you'll end up in the future that Allah has determined for you. He's determined a path for you, and through the struggle and through the hardship, you can achieve it. It doesn't matter where you start. It really just matters where you end up.
Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah.
Man, this has been a very interesting program so far. 30 minutes in, as Jabril mentioned, we are going to head right on into the final call segment. So after I play the video about what the final call is all about, we're going to go ahead and talk about this week's issue. That sound good?
Yes, sir, of course.
All right, let's get to it.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call Digital Edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
All right, excellent. And Jabril, this week's edition of the Final Call newspaper is about settling our differences, correct?
Yes, sir. Settling our differences. Again, family, if you don't know, now you know, right? We, as members of the Nation of Islam, we are always pushing our number one tool for the number one program, which is the Final Call newspaper, a message dedicated to the resurrection of the Black man and woman in America and the world. The latest edition, settling our differences. After decades of friction, you have misunderstandings and conflict. Members of two prominent and historic Black liberation organizations are working toward reconciliation with hopes of starting a new chapter toward atonement and healing. Family, one of the things that I think about when I read this and I see this is that we as a people, a lot of times, we're always more interested, or we seem more interested in reconciling and having good relationships with everybody except each other. And
Come
it
on.
doesn't seem to serve us well, but we can't seem to really, see that. So whether it's you're members of certain political parties, other communities, people in media, the quote unquote Jewish community or what have you, we seem to be more concerned with how other people feel about us as opposed to how we feel about ourselves. So Black Lives Matter. We yelled that, but it was almost like it needed to matter more to people who were not us than it did to us. My thing is if Black lives truly matter, which they do, and if they don't matter, no other lives matter, if you really understand, and they would matter most to us, and we would do things internally and in-house that would really up the level of respect we have for ourselves, and by proxy and just by osmosis, other people will begin to respect us so much more. So if you're going to war, if you're going to play a game or play a sport, the worst thing you can do is have a difference with someone, whether real or petty, because it will disallow you to be the best version of yourself in the trenches. So, we talk a lot about in the nation, and other people say religious gangbanging, or you get to these community meetings around election time, and somebody's a Republican that's the chair, or somebody's a Democrat. No, I don't want to work with them because they're on a different wing than me of this bird, and it's like, well, what are we talking about? So, family, settle our differences. Let's get our latest edition of the Final Call newspaper. Family, you have 3FOI on and representing Philadelphia, Richmond, Virginia, and North Carolina. If you want to get the physical edition, tap in with myself, Brother Sabeer, or Brother Tariq in our respective areas to get and stay abreast of it digitally. Get your latest issue. Go to finalcalldigital.com to set up your digital subscription, and also follow at Final Call Newspaper on all platforms. You're going to know what the latest edition is virtually, and you'll be able to see what's in store for you when you read it.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, beloved. And also, too, before we go any further, I wanted to go ahead and acknowledge the new STEM Files drip that we have.
Wait a minute.
All right, come on. Unfortunately, now you're not gonna be able to see your brother wearing it. But look at Jabril's shirt right now. This is the first ever STEM Files drip that we have ever produced that represents the STEM Files. Now, this shirt, these are custom shirts for both myself and Jabril. As you can see at the bottom, it says Jabril Engineer, and at the top, the STEM Files. But we will be having the same design shirt made available and hoodies made available to our supporters with a different handle at the bottom. It won't say Jabril Engineer, it won't say Tariq Cardiac. But if you're a fan of us individually, and you want to wear Tariq Cardiac, that's fine. That's cool.
You got to let that in there.
But if you're interested in purchasing a shirt to support the STEM Files, we will definitely have a more generic shirt made available to you as a supporter. But I just wanted to put that out there. Also,
absolutely,
I want a special shout out to one of the hardworking student lieutenants here in Richmond, in Muhammad's Mosque number 24, Brother Kennard Muhammad. He has a apparel company where he'll take it together and he'll bring it to life and put it on some clothing and make it look real nice. So I would just want to thank Brother Kennard if you're watching it.
Yes, sir.
He also has a slight background in computer engineering or engineering of the sort. So inshallah, he's watching. But I just wanted to thank him for putting together such beautiful. And inshallah, we'll be working with Brother in the future on all of our other products as well. So let's go ahead and get right into the rest of the program. We have Brother Sabeer this evening, and we're talking about video games. We're talking about developing video games. And we, as the STEM Files, can't talk about someone's product, especially if they're the guest, and not have them show us what their product is.
Right.
Brother Sabeer, are you still on your laptop, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Okay. Do you see anything at the bottom where it says share your screen?
Yes, sir. I do. I see present, share screen. Alrighty. Yes, sir.
All right. Can you put that up on the screen now? Once you hit it, I should be able to allow it. So just let me know.
All right. Yes, sir.
There we go.
Alrighty.
All right. Brother Sabeer is going to be showing us a recording of his video game to kind of show us what he's done, what he's created. It's a beautiful thing when you see the idea that you had in your mind come to life.
Yes, sir.
It is a beautiful process. I bear witness. Jabril bears witness. Matter of fact, this program is a prime example of what we thought of in our minds and brought it to life. So,
Yes, sir.
so without any further ado, can you play us a recording of what you have produced?
Yes, sir. This is the launch trailer for my game Al Ankabut, also known as The Spider. All praise is due to Allah.
That was fire. I'm not gonna lie. I peeped the Arabic writing force field.
Yes,
I
yes,
had
sir.
to peep that. I said, "Oh, that's that." You know, that was high. That was high.
Praise
That's
you to Allah. Yes, sir. Because that's the field that protects you. You know.
We'll put on the whole armor of God. He said,
Yes, sir.
"Hold
That's
on."
what it says.
Yes, sir. Come on. That's what it says.
Yes, sir. Put on the whole armor of God that you can withstand the wiles of Satan.
Yes, I thought you said that's what the force field said. I said, "Oh, that's
Oh,
fine."
no, sir. That's the name of Allah in Arabic. Yes, sir.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
And now, like I'll play like a game or two on my phone or whatever, but I don't really play them. But this is gonna inspire me to play because like I've always wanted to play something like this, you know, even if it's just, you know, spending about, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes out of your day and just kind of chilling or whatever. I wanted to spend my time doing or absorbing the teachings in this manner.
Yes, sir.
Fun and exciting. Not that learning or studying the teachings isn't fun and exciting on its own, but to have it in an adventurous state like this is even more appealing to me. So I want to first and foremost thank you for developing this and having it come to life, and now it's available to purchase. Matter of fact, if you want to purchase the video game, or I believe it's like a sample of it, right? But Sabeer, or
no, it's the whole game. Yes, sir.
Whole game. Bet. So if you want
to done.
Go ahead and visit the link in our description, visit the link in our caption if you're watching on Facebook or what have you. And there under Black Business Highlight, just go ahead and hit that link and you can purchase the game. It's for PC, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so if you got a PC, I'm sure it'll be made available on Apple devices pretty soon. But if you have a PC, go ahead and check that out.
I definitely gotta I was just thinking, I don't know, Brother Sabeer, I'm not sure if you're in our NOI Blurred Culture group on Facebook, but I gotta invite you to it, and you gotta drop the link there, because like all of us talk about anime, gaming, or what have you, all believers. and
Yes,
everything.
sir.
Like
Yes,
our
sir.
brother Kareem, myself, I think Tariq is in, my brother. So, but brother Ian actually dropped a dope comment. He said, hopefully we can play this at Savior's Day. And I was like, what would be fire? Is if they release the vending. It would be dope if you set up a demonstration and have you be able to come up and play the game. That would be a really cool
Yes, sir. For
demonstration. Just
sure.
something to think about. Something to think about.
Yeah, I can say that. I I know that it is for PC, but for this game, I started working on it 2 years ago, back in 2020, and I really just wanted to see, can I complete a project like this? And I'm so happy that I did.
Right.
So the next step is, like Brother Tariq said, I got to develop something for mobile too, because everyone's on their
Right.
phones, and so
Right.
I've already started working on something for mobile too. And hopefully, inshallah, it won't take me another 2 years to finish it. But yes, sir, this is only for PC.
Yes,
Praise
sir.
Allah.
Praise be to Allah.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this one thing, beloved. I'm all about supporting Black business, and especially supporting Black business that is from the development of a STEM based activity, which is software development or any type of development. We at Original the STEM Files, Original Man Scientific, we're about research and development, right? We're about bringing your invention or your innovation to life. So I wanted to ask you, in your mind, where did you see? Where's the vision for this video? Like, how far are you going? Where at in the proprietary process are you in? Like, what is your timeline for the video game? How do you see it evolving?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I would say, well, first of all, I had to go back to the beginning. It was
Hold on.
a event that brother. Go ahead, yes, sir.
Before you answer, don't disclose any type of proprietary.
Oh, for sure, no, not at all. But it was a brother who invited me to speak at an event talking about young people in business, because that's important for us. And I was speaking at that event, but I was like, dang, it would be great if I could say, this is a game that I had produced. And so that very night I began, planning and working on it. I didn't really have a timeline, but that came later, about a month or so later. I just set up a Google Docs with all the things that I had to do to get the game from start to finish. And it started big picture. And as I was completing the tasks, I would add subtasks, and then subtasks to the subtasks, and then tasks to complete those subtasks. And basically I would give myself, a week or two to get this done, or a week or two to get that done. And that way I could kind of estimate, at what point do I want this entire game to be done. And so, my first date that I set for myself was around May of 2021. May of 2021. I didn't get it. I didn't hit it. And so, I had to delay it to October of 2021, then May of 2022. And finally, it released October 28th, 2022. But the goal and the idea was you had to set a deadline. Right. Anything you want to do, any project, if you're an engineer or not, but especially for engineers, they have to set a deadline. Right. So, we're taught in our lessons that, we write history to equal our home circumference 25,000 years in advance. There's an end point. It doesn't just go on and on and on, but we write history and there's an end point for that history. Right. So we're Black people, we're engineers. We don't just plan out the beginning and the middle of the process. You got to plan out the beginning, the middle, and the end, and then walk into it. But you got to give yourself a date, right? And the date can be extended as you go, but the date is like the pressure, like the opposition. Sort of like if you have water, right? If you have water and you have the water inside of a glass, and then you push the water down, the opposition is what provides the force. And so the force is the deadline that pushes you to achieve anything you want to achieve, So for this next game I'm working on, I have a deadline. And it's going to be a shorter deadline because it's a smaller game, for mobile devices and things like that. But I had to set myself some sort of deadline. And then as I walk towards it, I can extend it, if I need more time, but it's really all a part of planning. And I would say, you know, the idea for this wasn't really solidified when I started, but as I started developing it, the idea formed itself. And I really got to give all the praise to Almighty God Allah, because this is just the beginning. You know, I can't stop with one game. I got to keep going, because my goal isn't to just make a game for myself. My goal has always been, and it always will be, I want to have my own game development studio, you know, with, you know, many people, young people coming in to learn how to code, giving them the funding and the finance to produce ideas and things like that. Starting with game development, then we can branch off into different things with simulation, with robotics, with artificial intelligence. You know, that's the big picture goal. And, you know, it's similar with that. You got to give yourself a deadline. So that's how I answer to that.
Praise be to Allah. That sounds like a gaming OMS.
For
Praise
sure,
be to Allah. Praise be to Allah. So that's beautiful. I think it's beautiful to see your peers in outside the nation, but just Black people have detailed plans and be very not only articulate, but seem very happy and excited to share, not in detail, of course, but some of what is in their mind to produce for themselves, family, community down the line. You mentioned being able to extend yourself to young people and people who desire to make games and simulate and create kind of like a worker space or environment could be a business for yourself. Because I was actually going to ask you that question, to be able to help people develop their ideas in that realm. I wanted to go back because this was so important when you talked about the minister answering a question on Twitter about gaming, and there are some that are made for folly, some that have lessons. You know, it is pretty well known at this time that gamification has very real results when it comes to memory and being able to break down and digest very difficult and multifaceted concepts.
Yes,
you know,
sir.
Whether it's as a young child or infant in song or, you know, matching games, learning colors, numbers, you know, different aspects of mathematics. Gamification is really making something fun to where it almost takes the, how do you say, the mental block away from your capacity to learn. You're absorbing and you're having fun while doing so. So you're not looking at it as a burden. You're relaxing yourself, and your mind is able to more naturally absorb information. So there's a great, not only market, but great potential for gamification in a number of things, particularly learning. So thank you so much for highlighting that. As we continue, we are really almost at the end of the show. It's so crazy how quickly that went. At this time, we have a couple things that we want to do. First and foremost, I want to get into what we call our social media tap-in, which is basically, you know, we scour, which is not a word maybe I should use, but it sounds a little creepy. But we go through social media and kind of find something interesting from the perspective of something you have posted, and then we want to hear kind of your thoughts about it, what was going on in this picture. So we're going to bring it up now. So right here, right, we obviously see you with the board that's Al Ankabut on it. So talk to us about this picture, where you are, what's going on at this time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So actually, I have it with me right here. This is a poster that I have when I was taking the picture of the launch poster, basically. So, you know, at this time, you know, it was actually near launch, but I actually had hit a very, you know, specific blocker that, you know, it was coming to a point where it's like, am I going to have to delay it? Am I not going to have to delay it? You know, so I was like, yeah, I may as well just go ahead and take this picture, you know, take this picture and plan everything for the launch day, October 28th. We're going to stick with it. So, you know, this is a picture of me trying to be happy when everything was kind of breaking down in the development process. And, you know, all praises due to Allah, I was able to overcome that difficulty, that blocker, and, you know, the game released on time. You know, but it was very interesting learning how to do, because this is my first time doing marketing really in that way. And I don't really like marketing, to be honest. But in terms of business, it is an important part of engineering itself. And, you know, learning how to purchase the posters, learning how to design the posters first off, learning how to, set up social media posts and, working with, Google or Facebook ads and things like that. All of that was a learning process. And, it still is a learning process to really build an audience. You start small and then you grow over time.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of the story of how this picture came about, and a few others as well. But I would definitely say, it was a great learning experience, one that I hope to improve and add upon in the future.
Absolutely. And, one of the things, well, first and foremost, since you have this same, you can do the same picture in real time. You can hold that poster back up, actually, praise be, so the people can see in real time.
Yes,
Look at that, beautiful.
how it is.
Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah with the clean cut brothers on the front. So
praise be to Allah. Yes, sir.
I was going to make a suggestion. I know you're familiar with things, but obviously, going live on different platforms, Twitch in particular. As you're building that platform and you already have the game, I think something like to the effect of doing like a live demo on
yes,
Twitch
sir.
or something where you're playing through, you're articulating, speaking to some of the makeup of the game, talk about different levels, kind of clearing it a little bit, not just like a sneak peek. You'll have to do like the whole thing, and then even start to kind of create a sort of either channel or kind of authority surrounding games in general for things you may like. Okay, talk about this game and things like that, new releases and whatnot. And then you could even go live just talking about, ways to use gamification in terms of our liberation struggle. Just some ideas as you're building. Like marketing,
for sure, brother.
Marketing is something like when you talk about like organic marketing, doing it, it's like something that I kind of loathe from time to time. Like I definitely can increase my personal social media presence, but sometimes I get to overthinking it as an engineer. It's like, okay, I have so many things to do. And then sometimes you end up doing that thing. It doesn't take you as long as you did, but it's like that consistency and discipline to have a plan and just do it every single day is really the difference between a lot of people who are successful at whatever they desire to be successful at and not. It's like, okay, did you create a plan? And after that, did you stick to it? Did you utilize it? And then regardless of how many likes you may have seen or how much engagement initially, you continue to do the same thing, tweaking things here and there, you'll eventually kind of get to where you want to go. So I just wanted to share that with you. And I think you have a great potential to really do that.
Yes, sir. I would say I like that you brought that word potential because it kind of reminds me, in physics we learned about potential energy and kinetic energy.
Right.
All of us have a potential energy, and the only way we can turn that potential energy into a kinetic energy, which is energy in motion, is through, like you said, consistency.
Right.
And so Al-Ankabut is actually the Arabic name of the 29th surah of the Holy Quran, the spider. And so, it says, do men think they will be left alone on saying we believe and will not be tried? And, this whole process of developing it was a trial for me. And I'm sure, anyone who has an idea, it's a trial for you. But the key is to have a certain level of consistency. So even if, this is the first game that I'm really promoting, I've made a few others, but this first game that I'm really promoting, okay, let's say it doesn't go well. Let's say, I release it, and I'm like, dang, I'm kind of disappointed. I spent 2 years on this, There's the consistency, knowing that, you didn't do this because you just wanted to be popular. You didn't do this because you wanted fame or fortune. You did this because this is what you believe that Allah put in you to do with your life. And so that is the consistency and the motivation that's going to drive you forward and drive us forward, even if we don't feel like we're getting the results that we, expected from the start. It kind of reminds me of, to talk scripturally here, Prophet Muhammad, he didn't receive his first revelation until he was 40 years old. Come on. And so, imagine just the level of consistency we have to have as engineers, because we're building the hereafter. We're building a world that, is never going to end. And so it took America 300 years to get to where they are now in terms of technology and skills and science. It took them 300 years to build a world like this. Imagine how long it's going to take us to build a hereafter that will never end. I hate to go off on a tangent here, but that consistency, that patience, that determination has to be a key goal for all of us, whatever we want to do, whether it be game development, whether it be civil engineering, getting a degree, building a YouTube channel or a social media presence, it doesn't come out of nowhere, unless you have that hookup. But you have to have patience and perseverance, and that's something I'm trying to learn how to be a master at too.
And you're doing a beautiful job. I think one thing that you said, and we have to get out of the mind of as people, we have to stop thinking of building as something that ends.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Because if you're going to have limitless progress, as we are promised in the hereafter, we can't stop. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that Allah or God prays, studies.
Yes, sir.
So if the God does that, who are we to say that we're going to stop? If we're to go on the journey toward knowledge and come back, right? That's the equivalent of us dying on that journey. It never stops. So we got to keep learning, keep growing, keep moving forward. So praise be to Allah. So at this point, we want to move on a couple more things. We want to get into our nuclear reactions. We find a video across social media that we find interesting related to the topic and kind of want to see your thoughts on it. So let's tap into this.
What's your name and what's your major?
My name is Christopher Solania and my major is computer engineering.
Why?
Because I feel like really worth your money for college is like any engineering degree. All these other degrees you have to get like a master's, but engineering I feel like you just need 4 years and then you're good to go. Good starting salary. And I feel like if you get majors that are not in STEM field, I mean it's good, but you're paying $100,000 to go to college if you're don't have any scholarships, and then all of that just to get a job that pays you 40, 50K.
Oh, we getting spicy now. That boy done gave a real cynical view. But I'm not going to lie. I've had similar conversations, but this isn't about me. What are your thoughts about what he said?
Oh, yes, sir. Well, we have to keep it real. But there's two sides of it. One side, yes, it's true that engineering is a very sought after degree path nowadays. And with that comes financial rewards and things like that. But at the same time, that shouldn't be our goal going into the field. As it is nowadays, a lot of times, I was talking to a lot of my peers at North Carolina A&T, they're going into computer engineering, computer science because it pays more. That's not the right determination that's going to get you through 4 years of study. And it's hard. I remember the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, he was talking about education. He was saying, he was asking the question, talk to a certain student, why did you choose psychology, sociology? And he said he didn't give them a chance to answer, but he said, it's because you were choosing ease instead of hardship. He's always advised us, don't go to college and get these degrees that we can't use to help our people, because the psychology of this world is proven not true. It's not helping our people in the way that we want it to, so if we go into engineering, you can't go into it with the mind of, I'm going into this just because I want to get a paycheck or I just want to get this amount of money and that amount of money. You have to go into a skill and a science because that this is something that you want to use to help your people, like it says in the Supreme Wisdom, to get some benefit for yourself. With that does come luxury. But if I know that I'm born to do something like this, then I know that I'm going to be able to support myself because this is what Allah has put within me to do, whether it be science, engineering, mathematics, whether it be something that's not even STEM related. So, I'm not going to fault the gentleman because, it's true. People need money now,
Right.
They don't expect to go into school and then not be able to pay their bills.
Right.
That would be a shame, wouldn't it? So, I can understand that. But I remember one of my professors at Morehouse, he told us, don't worry about money when you choose your degree path. The money will come, but you have to choose something that you love to do. Choose something that you want to learn how to do. Choose a science, because when you take money out of the equation, when you take financials and things like that out of the equation, of course, like I said, we have to keep it real. To be honest, people have bills to pay and things like that, but that shouldn't be the focus. That shouldn't be the foundation by which you build your whole college career. Because think about it, you're going to spend 4 years studying and learning and all of this and that to work a job that you hate in the end. Right. And then you're going to try and work that job and grow in that job. And then you find you get stuck in that job. And a certain point, the money's not going to matter anymore. You're going to come
Right.
out of your career and be like, dang, I wasted all this time when there was something that I wanted to study, but I devoted all my time to this because it pays well. Well, guess what? When you're gone, the money goes away.
That's
You're
right.
buried in the same grave as the person who never strived for anything.
Come
So
on,
it says
Brother
in the
Sabeer.
Bible, all is vanity and vexation of the spirit. So I mean, not to
We
fault
might need to pass the bucket. I mean, like, look, if you
the,
believe what you heard today is true, and good
you
for our
gotta
people.
go into the college and universities with the mind of a master,
Right.
but go with the focus that you're not going in here just to make money. Money will come. Money was here long before the US dollar was invented. There was a form of exchange. If it was bartered, what would you do? Would you go to school and say, oh, I'm going to school to study this because I can barter it with somebody else for some material thing? The material things existed before. They will exist long after. Go to school because you know in your soul that this is something that you can use to help your people to build from the virtual hereafter to the manifest hereafter. So all praises due to Allah.
Praise be to Allah. Family, if you liking what you're here, hold on. You got to do this right. Wait a minute. Again, family, we are live. We have been live on YouTube and Facebook. Please follow us on all platforms at the STEM Files, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Tariq Cardiac, the brilliant engineer. If you are liking what brother has been talking about, what we've been discussing on this platform, drop a black fist in the comment. Drop a black fist in the comment if you like what you are hearing. If you want a part 2 with brother to come back and talk a bit more in depth, maybe in his game or other things he may be doing or developing, please drop a thumbs up in the comment. Drop a thumbs up. So if you're liking what's going on, drop a black fist. If you want a part 2, drop a thumbs up. Family, I'm enjoying this thoroughly. You're just talking about so much, and I think, even greater than go to school, get education.
Yes, sir.
In such a way that it will allow you to provide for yourself, family, and nation. And I think what Duke was talking about, we live in a world that is so starved for resources where people's primary thought process is, how am I going to survive? So now you have college. Literally, people only look at college or look at it almost like it's a waste of time if you're not getting a STEM degree. And to a large degree, when you talk about those nation building skill sets and disciplines, it almost, when you leverage think about the debt, can be seen that way. But like you said, go beyond just monetary, because we as a people should not be thinking as cogs. We should be thinking as producers. We should be thinking as those who are to bring something into existence, not just kind of come and get in where we fit in and fit into the machine that is this current paradigm of thinking. So thank you so much for what you said.
Yes, sir. That kind of reminds me.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I can't remember what lecture it was, but the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said that you could have a university under a tree.
That's right.
All a university is studying the science of the universe. So don't think, okay, if I don't go to college that I'm worthless. That there's no value, that I can never do what it is I set my mind to do. College is an avenue, a pathway.
Right.
Some of us, we don't need to go to college.
Right.
Some of us, we waste more time in college learning things that really don't matter. Like for me, instance, at Morehouse, I had to take a class in Art of the African Diaspora. Now, that was a very enjoyable class. I learned quite a bit from it. But if my degree path is in computer engineering, how much time could I have spent learning more about computer engineering than learning extracurricular courses that are in this path that the university says I have to learn? So some of us, it may be better for us to take another avenue to get what we want, instead of trying to specifically go to college. It all depends on, what path do you see for yourself that Allah has determined for you.
Absolutely. And then when we also take it another step further, even though I do enjoy several of the electives I took when I went to Penn, it's like, how much quicker could you have gotten your degree with no electives? When you think about it from that perspective too, how much less money could be done low key, like maybe 2 years, 2.5. To do it. But speaking of this paradigm and shifting the paradigm and nation building and what we need to do as a people, I'd like to highlight something very dope happening in the Delaware Valley region this weekend, particularly in Delaware and Philadelphia. So at this time, I want to bring up a couple of ads. So we have Brother Student Minister Nuri Muhammad coming to the Delaware Valley region between December 2nd and 4th. He will be in the mighty, mighty city of Wilmington, Delaware, Muhammad Mosque number 35, tomorrow evening, 7 p.m., talking about Born to Win. It's at 2800 Washington Street in Wilmington, Delaware, Born to Win. Then we segue over to the mighty Muhammad Mosque number 12 in Philadelphia at the community meeting. Family, somebody's trying to kill you. Community in crisis and its solutions. We will be bringing the community together to talk about what we need to do to make our communities a safe and decent place to live. We need to have a code of conduct. We need to have Black Lives Matter to us. And we really need to understand that we can do this and we're the only ones who will do it. It won't be any Democrat, Republican, party member. It won't be any one organization. It will be the concerned citizens trying to take ownership of ourselves and our communities to be able to secure something for ourselves and make our communities safe and decent. Family, if you look at the phone number for more info, there will be a book signing. There will also be vending and a dinner sale. For more information, you can call 215-908-5202 or email mosquedbr@gmail.com. I believe there are still a couple of vending spots open. If you're in the Philadelphia area, you can look at or reach out via that phone number or an email for more information on that. And finishing it off on Sunday, December 4th at 11 a.m., how to love a Black woman and how to love a Black man. We got to rebuild and repair the Black family. I know some of us, we're infatuated with, what's the word I'm looking for? Interracial relationships and what have you. And I'm not here to slight you or what have you, but we want to talk about how to love a Black woman and how to love a Black man. So Brother Nur will be at Muhammad Mosque number 12 on Sunday, delivering the keynote for our Sunday meeting. Family, it's going to be a jam-packed weekend. Please, if you follow me, Jabrillion_engineer on Instagram, please tap in. I'll be doing a post between tonight and tomorrow with more information. Please be my guest, whether it's in Delaware or Philadelphia this Saturday and Sunday. Look forward to seeing you, fellowshipping with you, and helping to talk about solutions for our people and our communities. Again, Brother Student Minister Nuri Muhammad comes to the Delaware Valley region, Philadelphia, and Wilmington, Delaware. Much love, family. All right. Well, we are at that time. I mean, it's been dope. We got one more thing to do. I mean, I've enjoyed this. I think, it's crazy. I know it's been a while since I think me and you talked outside of social media and everything. So just being able to reconnect and everything and build in such a manner is really cool. So I want to take you through the last portion of, last portion of our class, last portion of the show tonight, which is our speed round questions. We'll ask you several questions and do your best to answer in, let's say, 3 to 5 seconds. All right. Nothing major. Nothing major. I know you're an engineer. We gotta be quick, moving fast, thinking right down to the modern time. I'm going to bring them up and we're going to move forward from there. You ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. All right. The first thing you do or think of when you wake
up? Prayer.
Praise be to Allah. Hot or cold?
Hot.
All right. Walking or jogging?
Walking.
Okay. Professional or volunteer work?
Volunteer work.
Favorite pair of shoes of all time?
I really don't know, brother. I don't even look at the brands that much. I have a lot of FUBU, to be honest.
Okay. We got FUBU, for us, by us. Come on now. Android or iPhone?
Bro, Android. Look.
Wow.
Oh, you iPhone? Nah, bro.
Nah, man. I got a new 13 Pro Max. You know what I'm saying? I'm loving it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm on the wrong program.
It's so funny that until recently, Tariq was team Android, got himself a Pro Max, and now is not looking back. It's hilarious. Okay. If you may cook a little. Favorite thing to cook?
Spaghetti. Chicken Parmesan, to be honest, brother.
Chicken Parmesan. Okay, chicken parm. Okay, got a little. Okay, I see you. Favorite song of all time?
Oh, Bob Marley. What's it called? I love so many of his songs. Buffalo Soldier, probably.
Buffalo. Okay. Buffalo
Yes,
Soldier.
sir.
Okay, I see you. Youth engagement or raising money for a nonprofit.
Youth engagement for sure.
Okay. Worst job you've ever had.
I've had a lot of those, brother. Probably the worst job. I worked at Wendy's for a little bit.
Hated it. I feel
Yeah.
you. Okay. If you were stuck on an island for a year, you could only listen to 3 albums. What would they be?
I don't really know that many albums, but
Okay, so if you can't do albums, this sometimes is hard. You can say 3 artists. You can say 3 songs.
Okay, yes, sir.
Combination.
Yes, sir. So, probably, like I said, Bob Marley's got to be number one. I like that kind of music. Number 2, I need something classical, so either Mozart or Beethoven.
Okay.
Number 3, like I said, we're talking about video games here, so I take the soundtrack for Red Dead Redemption 2. That's my favorite game. So
this might be the greatest combination of answers of all time. My man said, give me the Red Dead Redemption soundtrack, give me Bob Marley, and give me Mozart. That might be the makings of a genius right there.
Kind of varied there, but
that was dope. Okay. Let's see. If you could meet any scientist from the past, who would it be and why?
Einstein.
Okay.
Why? I want to know if he met Master Father Muhammad. I want to know.
And that's a beautiful question. It's very interesting when you see when certain people have certain outlooks on life and bring certain things, you may see a level of comparison to the teachings. You want to know that question.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. If you weren't a computer engineering student or aspiring computer engineer, what would you be?
I'd probably go into like religious studies.
Okay.
Probably go into that, preaching and stuff, things like that.
You can still do that.
I kind of do, bro.
Yes, sir.
I would probably do that for sure.
Okay. Here we go. Last question. My name is Sabeer Muhammad, and I am
a computer engineer.
A computer engineer. And he means that, family, in a greater sense than just coursework. He applies that as an engineer should to every aspect of life. Family, this has been a beautiful, beautiful session, beautiful show. We always strive, like we say, to highlight the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, mathematics. But we are the striving voice of STEM talent in Black culture. We want to prove that not only are we Black in STEM, but that Black is in fact STEM from the very essence of it. So, continuing on, if you would like to support or endorse us, you can send us a donation at Cash App at #the STEM Files. That's #the STEM Files, or text 770-695-7912 for other methods. We also have the super chat and super chat options on YouTube as well. If you're on YouTube, you can definitely drop a donation as well. But again, that's Cash App at #the STEM Files, or text 770-695-7912 for other methods. Family, I really appreciate all those that continuously, watch and support the platform. We do this for not only ourselves, we enjoy it, but for you all to really share the beauty that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Brother Sabeer, as we close out, is there anything else you'd like to share, or one more nugget you'd like to give our audience?
Praises due to Allah. I can only say that a tweet that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan made recently. He was saying, that God is sufficient for me. So in our studies, whether we're in college, whether we're not in college, whether we're adults, elders, young people, anything we want to do, make God sufficient for us, and then we'll be put on a path with the right determination to succeed. So I thank you, Brother Jabril, and thank you, Brother Tariq, as well, for allowing me and inviting me on this program.
God is sufficient for me, man. It's so hard sometimes. I won't say it's so hard, but sometimes we can find ourselves forgetting that.
Yes, sir.
And that's where the increased prayer and interactions and relationships come in, because we all have to have that, almost we say that come to Jesus moment, but that moment where you are smacked in the face with the truth of the teachings. and its impact on your life. And the more of those moments you have, it solidifies in you that what you're following, what you're holding on to is right and exact. So God is sufficient for me. I have nothing more to say. I am your humble co-host, your brilliant engineer, typically joined by tonight, my co-host Tariq Cardiac, our brother, growing and budding computer engineer, and I would say video game designer, developer, brother Sabeer Muhammad. Inshallah, bro, I may see you at Savior's Day. Definitely gotta tap in, and we're gonna connect before then. Until next time, family, stay tapped in. We love you. We appreciate all the support. We're gonna keep doing our thing. This has been another edition of the STEM Files. Peace, family.
Yes, sir.
Believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teach men.